Hi, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
And this is Northwest Brew Talk. Welcome to Northwest Brew Talk, the #1 podcast on Washington beer, brought to you by Micro Homebrew, located in Kenmore. This is episode number 83. Each and every week, we promote the Washington brewing industry by talking to those people involved in drinking Washington beer. If you like Washington beer, learn about the people behind it here on our show. This week on the Micro Homebrew interview, we talk with Justice Brewing. We also have our brew news and local music from Children of Etam. With over 300 breweries, we try to highlight as many as possible every episode. If you're new to the show, we suggest you check out our back catalog with some great interviews and tons of Washington beer.
If you have any comments or questions, feel free to shoot us an email, nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at nwbrewtalk and on Facebook at facebook.com/nwbrewtalk. If you like the show and want to support us, share our link and tell your friends on social media. It takes just a few to start a revolution.
Okay.
So let's start our show like we do every week, opening our very first beer from Doomsday Brewing. They have a brewery in Washougal, Wednesday through Sunday, family friendly, and a safe house, which just sounds like a tap room. They're in Vancouver. They are open 7 days a week, and they are for 21 and over only. We're drinking their Agent Orange. This is a Northwest-style IPA that they took to the next level. The mission begins with generous amounts of Simcoe and Citra hops to give a huge tropical fruity bitterness. Orange peel is then introduced to the mix at strategic times to give this brew an unmistakable orange flavor and aroma. And with the Simcoe dry hop during fermentation, and you get a special Agent Brew ready to infiltrate the unsuspecting beer geek's palate.
All right.
6% ABV, 60 IBUs, and an untapped rating of 3.33.
All right. It's a nice golden color, nice foamy head on it. And it's got a nice aroma.
Yeah, you can definitely smell the...
Yeah, something. It's
citrusy.
definitely not a grapefruit one like we've had before.
No.
Oh, definitely some orange flavor.
Oh, yeah. Can definitely taste the orange.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Different. You definitely have that bitter taste there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have the bitterness from the hops, but you have a good orange flavor in it. It's a little different.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Nice. They got a big story on the back of their bottle talking about when their beer was... their company was started and about the beer, I think everything you read. But 6%, 60 IBUs. That's, is that what you got?
Yep.
All right, good.
I wanted to check.
Good. Everything's different. You never know.
Sometimes not.
Even their website's sometimes different from what the bottles say.
Yep, sometimes.
But yeah, that's pretty nice. I like that. It's a little different. Yeah. We don't get too many like that. An IPA that has an real orange flavor.
Yeah, you do tend to like that citrusy flavor too.
Yeah, that's good. All right, cool. And on to this week's brew news.
Topping this week's news, Piketoberfest takes place Saturday, October 1st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. The 21 and over event that benefits Pike Place Market Foundation. Beer on the Pier takes place in Anacortes October 7th and 8th. This adults-only event will have 30 breweries and 10 cideries, as well as food and live music. Tickets are $25 or $45 for both days. The third annual Prosser Beer and Whiskey Festival takes place October 8th at the Prosser Wine and Food Park. The 21 and over event features live music, food, rib cook-off, specialty vendors, a VIP cigar lounge, and much more. Tickets for the event are $15 for general admission, $50 for a VIP pass, and $75 for an all-access pass. The Mountain Ale Festival takes place October 8th in Roslyn at the Yard. The event is 21 and over and features over 15 breweries, food, lawn games, and live music. It's $25 per person. That gets you 5 beer script and a souvenir tasting glass.
Saturday, September 24th is the 18th annual Fish Brewing Oktoberfest in Olympia. They will have food, special beer releases, and live music. You get a commemorative mug and 3 pours for your $20 admission. North Bank Beer Week is taking place across Southwest Washington, September 22 through the 30th. Events across the area are at 27 different breweries and other venues. Check northbankbeerweek.com for all the details.
The Inland Northwest Craft Beer Festival takes place September 23rd and 24th in Spokane, with 38 breweries pouring more than 100 beers. The event will be held at Avista Stadium and features live music, great food, and baseball-themed fun. The Saturday, September 24th session is family-friendly. Pacific Brewing and Malting in Tacoma will host their second anniversary party on September 24th. It's all ages, and they'll have beer specials, food, and giveaways. It's that time of year, and September 23rd to 25th is Fremont Oktoberfest. Hailed as one of the top 10 places in the world to celebrate Oktoberfest, with food, beer, and several other events to keep you busy, including a 5K and street scramble. Friday and Saturday are 21 and older, while Sunday is all ages. This event has various ticket options, so visit strangertickets.com. The Fresh Hop Ale Festival takes place October 1st in the heart of Hop Country, Yakima. This is the end of the Fresh Hop Beer Week in Yakima, which runs September 27th through October 2nd. The Seattle Fresh Hops Festival takes place October 7th and 8th at Hales Palladium.
Go Brewing in Bellevue will be celebrating their third anniversary on October 15th with a big party. There will be a one-off and barrel-aged beers, food from Bread and Circuses, which will be providing food at their Bellevue and New Auburn locations in the coming months, and a cigar tent. 101 Brewery in Quilcene celebrated their 20th anniversary this past Saturday. That makes them one of the older breweries in the state. They had $2 beers. Happy anniversary to them. And they weren't the only anniversary that was celebrated. The largest brew pub in the United States, Boundary Bay in Bellingham, celebrated their 21st birthday. They are now officially legal, so congratulations to them. Hi-Fi Brewing in Redmond will be celebrating their third anniversary on September 24th. Expect live music, food, giveaways, and limited release beers, including Pump Up the Volume Pumpkin Ale. It runs from 1 to 5, so check it out. And there's one more. Island Hoppin Brewing in East Sound will be celebrating their 4th anniversary on Friday the 23rd. It runs from noon till 10 with live music, food, giveaways, and beer releases, including Flounder's Red Sour. That, my friends, is this week's Brew News.
Welcome back to Northwest Brew Talk. If you want to submit news to Northwest Brew Talk, send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. If you've not yet subscribed to our podcast, why not do it now? It's free, available anywhere you listen to podcasts, including iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and now Google Play Music.
On this week's Micro Homebrew interview, we're talking to Nate from Justice Brewing.
All right, we're here with Nate from Justice Brewing. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Awesome. So, why don't you give us a little background on Justice Brewing? How did you get started in owning a brewery?
Got started because I got tired of working for other people. Needed something a bit more stable and where I could control every aspect of the job. So, and it's a creative outlet and a technical production outlet. So I get all those little wheels in my brain that need greasing. It gets all those little things going at the same time.
So, had you been a home brewer prior to that?
Yeah. I started home brewing back in about 2006. And then around like 2008, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about maybe this might be, something I want to do. I don't want to work for the, Fortune 500 company that I'm still working for till the end of time, and wanted to move into more management, kind of learn the aspects and see what was going on. And then get laid off, took a contract, got the brewery up and running while I worked a contract job, and then been doing this ever since.
So that brings up a question. Did you have any type of business, managerial, any type of experience?
Yeah, I had like a consulting company. I started, even when I was in high school, I was still doing IT work for the school district where I was attending high school at. Nice, so I did some contract work for them, and I've always kind of had this an entrepreneurial spirit. You know, my dad was self-employed, my uncle was self-employed for a long time, so I saw that it was possible, and it's not something that was taught to me that you need to go work for someone else, that you can be the boss, for lack of a better word, even though I have no one to boss around but myself. But it wasn't a bar that was, I was told I couldn't clear. So I took the shot, and this is technically the third business venture I've had in my life. I had a consulting company, and then a small-time record label, back when MP3.com was just becoming a thing. There was no iTunes or anything like that. We had we made like maybe $2,000, making music and having fun at it, but it's just not something that can pay the bills. Whereas making beer manages to pay the bills, so that's at least a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. So having your background, and I'm assuming you've probably asked your dad or whatever if you've needed any like business experience.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's mostly been like trial and error, and people that I worked for before, they were all the best places I worked for were all small businesses, less than 5 employees. Oh, okay. During high school, worked at a sign shop, 3 employees. That was it. But I learned from my boss there, Cindy, who has passed on now, but she was a good influence on me. And then I worked catering for 5 years, and Rich, he's retired dude now. The catering company was something he opened up in his retirement, and he kind of showed me how employees should be treated. It wasn't a low-paying job. He started everyone out high, and you gave them the work for that you knew that he deserved, and we worked well as a team and learned from there just kind of how things should be, and I think it really helped. And he's still a great friend of mine. I still talk to him, and it was there was kind of a safety net of people that if you needed help, you can call these people, and they're there with advice at least, so it helps.
Yeah, definitely, because that's one thing. A lot of times, a small brewer starting out, it seems like that's the one thing they're missing is some business experience.
Oh yeah. Brewing is the last thing you need to know here. Yeah. You need to know logistics, all the transportation, grains, kegs, all that kind of management stuff, employees, taxes, licensing. It's brewing's the last thing on my mind most of the time. Yeah. It's, what am I doing this week for brewing? Yeah. It just comes up then, but you've got all these million things like, all right, we've got this much grain, I need to get this much, I need this, I'm low on these hops, we need to order those, it's going to take 2 weeks to get this, it's going to take 3 weeks to get that. Yeah, what are the timelines on these things, trying to make, and then working out the schedule to maximize the capacity of, the available fermentation space, and it's just... it's a lot of management. It's way more management than it is brewing. Yeah. Brewing's honestly the last thing on my mind most of the time. Yeah.
So when did the brewery open?
We opened for full operations in 2012. We started getting construction and permitting all started in 2010. Okay. But yeah, it took almost 2 full years to get operational. But I've been doing it full time ever since.
Well, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So, did you take some of your home brew recipes that you started out with?
Yeah, we did 9 different versions of White and Nerdy. Really? Before we finally landed on the recipe that we've stuck with. And I always say we, but it's me. Yeah,
but we is the brewer.
Right. Yeah. The corporation, which if you put it in your passenger seat, then you can drive in the carpool lane, right? Because corporations are people.
Yeah. So are you the whole company?
Yeah. It's just me right now. The wife, she helps out when something needs done, but she's the breadwinner of the family. Okay. It helps to have someone else that is going to make the mortgage payment when because beer is kind of a seasonal thing. It fluctuates, so there's lean times and there's fat times, so it helps to have someone else there, because this is my job besides taking care of the kid. We've got a 2.5-year-old now, so after a year of operations, it started to, okay, now I got to stay at home because I can't afford daycare and the brewery at the same time. So Monday through Friday for a year and a half, I was taking care of the kid, and then nights and weekends was all I had for the brewery.
Really?
So, but we doubled production in that year and a half.
Really?
So I was brewing more than I ever had, and
Wow.
still, staying at home during the day.
Oh,
So it worked out.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it's
yeah.
Long nights and
yeah.
weekends, man. There were some weekends where I was brewing 4 batches on, a Saturday and Sunday just to get everything done that needs to be done.
Wow. So do you have the same system you started with?
Yeah. We've got the same kettles, but we've changed fermentation. We've now got the SS Brewtech 1-barrel Chronicles, as they call them, and a home-built glycol system and stuff. So I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer kind of a dude. In becoming a brewer, I'm also now a EPA certified refrigeration tech because
nice.
I needed to be able to handle Freon in 5-pound increments and stuff. So it's been a weird learning process.
Interesting.
Things you didn't know you would ever need when you start a brewery.
Exactly. So when you started, did you have any idea that like White Nerdy would be like a popular beer?
We started out with 5 beers that were going to be like our year-round beers, and I just kept paring them down because we only had so much production space, and it was like, okay, this one sells, but it sells slower than that. I'm gonna move that back, move this out. This is a good beer, but it's like our pale ale. But I'm like, there's a million friggin' pale ales out there, so jettison the pale ale. Don't need that. Everyone else has got the pale ale, and we just kind of settled on White and Nerdy as the flagship. That was the best seller, and it was, personally one of my favorite beers. And there's not really many breweries in Washington that even make a Belgian wheat, let alone a flagship Belgian wheat.
Yeah, exactly.
And we used to brew a white IPA, but we haven't really done that. We've never brewed an American IPA, and we did one pilot batch for our bottle club of an American double IPA, and that was it. I've never brewed any other American IPAs.
Huh.
And in Washington State, that's weird.
Sacrilege.
Yeah. I'm the outlier on the curve of breweries producing IPAs.
Yeah.
So I figured it was I like to use you go to a community pool. You're going to go to the pool that's full of people, or you're going to go to the pool that there's just a few people? I'd rather go to the one where there's a lot less pee in the pool.
Yeah. So do you think that's helped you with sales by having something that's a little different?
I'm not sure if it's helped or I've been a hindrance, because a lot of people do show, what's your hoppiest beer? What's your hoppiest beer? None of them.
What is your hoppiest beer?
So the hoppiest probably would have been, we did a American Wild, sour IPA, I guess is what people are calling them now, but it's basically a dry hopped, sour ale, like Le Terroir or Trinity's Red Stapler. We did a Nelson Sauvin hop wild ale, and it was, calculated at 100 IBUs, but with the sourness and a little bit of sweetness, it balanced out to where it wasn't overwhelmingly bitter, but that hop flavor.
Yeah.
So, that's probably our hoppiest beer by, depends on the metric,
Exactly.
A lot of people, I don't know if you consider flavor hoppy or just bitter hoppy, it's one of those things that's up for debate.
Yeah, because we've done, like on the show, we've done some, it's like, 100 IBUs, but it's like, this is not very bitter, so it's like...
And it also comes down to perception. There's a perceived bitterness. So if you have a dry beer with, 30 IBUs, it's going to taste, you're going to perceive the bitterness as a higher degree than if, it finished at, a 10, 0.010 higher than it was. Then you'd think it's a bit more balanced versus the bitterness. So... And that's kind of an education thing with people, is a lot of people don't understand the just, perception, and people's palates are different. So it's like a hoppy beer to you might not be a hoppy beer to me, or vice versa. So it's just trial and error for that stuff.
Yeah. So, you have distribution. How far is your distribution?
We are as far south as Federal Way, with the occasional few cases that make it down to Olympia. Usually that's, I have to go talk to liquor control. So while I'm down in Olympia, anyone else want some beer while I'm down here? And we're as far north as Bellingham.
Okay, yeah.
Mostly up and down I-5 or 405. I don't really go, haven't gone east of the mountains at all yet, since it's all self-distribution. So I've literally got to drive it there on some Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just bottle then, right?
Yeah, we just bottle and keg, and we're 90% wholesale, so we don't have much tasting room sales, just because we have a very, very tiny tasting room. So, and we can't serve pints.
Okay.
So it's 4-ounce samples, bottles and growlers. So until we can find a new location and get moved on from there, and with a full tasting room, that's mostly going to be wholesale from now on. But been looking at canning stuff, but it's just another upfront cost that you got to figure out how to cover.
Right.
And we just expanded with the Conicals in December and January, during the deadest time of the year. It was like, let's take on, let's spend all this money on stuff that's not going to pay back until August or September.
Yeah.
So it's playing the game of which piece of equipment do you need right now. But I'd love to do a 16-ounce can sometime, but got to have like at least $6,000 to even look at the single head filler stuff. So right now, I'll just go with the bottle fillers we got. We do all of our sour and wild ales by hand with a Blickman beer gun, and all of our regular beers go through a pneumatic powered counter pressure filler that just does one bottle at a time. So it can all be done by one person without needing to have a million people to help do this stuff. So just kind of figuring out the best way to do it with the lowest manpower.
Right. So, has the brewery progressed the way you expected it to?
Yeah, mostly. We had a 5-year plan, and we're now we're 6-ish years into that, and it's been we've been trying to expand and been looking for a place for 2 years and just haven't had luck. We were in negotiations on a place for 6 months, and that didn't go through, and then made an offer on another place, and we couldn't come to terms, and it's just been, now it's looking at places that, this one's too big, this one doesn't have enough power, this doesn't work, this is in the wrong area. It's just all those things have to line up, and it's hard right now, just because there's, I don't know, it's just the way the economy is going in Seattle. There's businesses are moving in, but the wrong kind of businesses for the kind of space that we need. Industrial is kind of becoming harder to find, or it's 10,000 square feet that I don't need.
Yeah.
I had one guy call me up. He was like, "Hey, we wanted to let you know we got some space by Payne Field opening up. It's about 16,000 square feet." And I'm like, "That's great. Are we putting 16 breweries in there? Because I only need about 1,500 for my next step."
Yeah.
And I'm like, 3,000 would be a stretch,
Yeah.
Because I don't really want, when we grow, I don't want to put in a bigger brew house. I just want to put in more fermenters, and we're going to just drop a second brew system in.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. So you're just going to grow slowly that way?
Yeah. And I'm happy to grow to a certain level and plateau. This isn't, I have no ideas for world domination. It's just something to make a living. That's really it. And it's working that way, and we're growing and growing, but it's just I'm constrained by space right now. I've only got so many fermenters, and I've only got 420 square feet to work with. So it's pick and choose.
Right. So what kind of beers do you like to drink?
Mostly Belgians and sours. Sours are one of my absolute favorite things, and we've been able to get sours out on a more regular basis now. It's you got to remember to brew it almost 2 years in advance. And there were sours where it was like, okay, this, on our pilot system doing small batches, it was like, okay, this was done in 12 months, but now on a larger scale, it's taking 18 months to, it's taking longer, and we're not doing any kettle sours or any of that stuff. It's all It's all bacteria, it's all Brettanomyces, it's all stuff that takes forever. You just have to have patience. So and that eats up a lot of space in the brewery too. So it's but I'd love to do more and more and more of them, but it's at least we're getting some out there now.
Yeah, definitely. So other than the other thing is you've done awards. Submitted to awards?
Not really. No, I can't afford it.
Can't afford to do
No. We did a couple years ago. I think I submitted 2 beers to the Washington Beer Awards. Got decent notes back, but the problem was so like our flagship White and Nerdy, it's out of style for a Belgian wheat.
Okay.
So I already know it's not going to score well if you're scoring to a guideline. My beers perform best when they get out of their style and make it on to like best of show rounds. So when we were when I was homebrewing, the last competition I entered in 2012, I had 6 beers make it to the best of show round, and I took both 6th place and 1st place.
Oh wow!
Those were my 2 top. But the sours scored great in their styles because it's a style. I got a 40 and a 45 out of 50, which BJCP, no one gets a 50. People rarely get 40s anymore because judges are just so critical. But White and Nerdy scored a 32 out of 50 and then took best of show.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not the right hops, it's not the right hop amount. It's higher. It's got a lot of late hops, and it's just not a Belgian wheat. But that's the closest. Commercially, that's the closest descriptor you can give to someone without huge knowledge of beer and its ingredients, so I can't just say it's a Northwest style wheat brewed with a Belgian yeast. That wouldn't look good on a label.
Right.
So I don't know if commercially I'll do much competition. I'm not a Brewers Association member, so I'd have to pay. It was it was going to cost us like $600 to submit like 2 beers to that, and that's $600 that I can put towards more equipment. I can alleviate some of my stresses instead of sending it out. And the Washington Beer Awards are an affordable one, but it's still, when you count packaged beer that you have to give up that you now can't sell at retail, and then the entry fees, you're out almost $70 per beer to enter.
Right.
So you do that over how many beers are you going to enter, and it's like there's a good chunk of your change for the month. There's my rent for a month.
Well, exactly.
So it's just once we get to a certain size, I'll consider it, but it's just it's hard. It's just hard for us because we're just tiny, and a lot of people I think sometimes think we're bigger than we are, and then they come by the brewery and they're like, "Whoa." You do all this here?
Yeah.
So,
you see it on the store shelves.
It's a big brewery. From Bellingham to, Federal Way. It gives an impression, but it's...
Well, we talked to a bigger brewery earlier, and this same thing. It costs money to do the awards, and they said he adds up everyone that he could enter, and he adds it up, and he buys some new equipment instead of doing that.
Yeah. If I have $700 extra bucks, man, that's with my current output, that's grain for almost a month.
Yeah.
That's a month of brewing that I could be doing, and that has a 30% return. We're not talking killer margins here, but wholesale and bottles, everything's like 30%. And I don't think a lot of people realize that beer is kind of a low margin item. It's a lot of labor, and it's a lot of ingredients and a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
labor of love.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Otherwise, you're in the wrong friggin' business. That's for sure.
Yeah. But how long are you think it's going to take before you can find a spot?
I have no idea. You told me 2 years. You asked me the question 2 years ago. I would have said 6 months.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know how long it's going to take.
2 years from now, right?
The positive thing is 2 years from now, the Port of Everett will have finished its waterfront place expansion. So I know there's going to be real estate open there. But I really don't want to have to wait 2 years. And then the Riverside Business Park, they're working on building that up, but it's all Port of Everett projects that are they're going through the the slow government bureaucracy processes of getting things done.
Yeah.
So it's all got to be done in phases.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe someone else will show up. I've had calls. The Herald wrote an article about us, and I started getting calls from people with, "Oh, I got this building that's perfect for you." And you show up, and it's a dump.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, it's perfect for you. And I want $4,000 a month. I'm like, you want about $2,000 too much for this place, and it needs $50,000 in rehab that I don't have.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, the building's in probate, so they couldn't have even rented it even if they wanted to.
Nice.
So you get these people coming out of the woodworks when they know you're looking, and you're like, I just want something that works.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of looking. And when I go into a negotiation now, I just offer my best price up front. I'm like, this is what I can do. If you guys can't do it, then see you later, because I don't have time to go back and forth again. It's energy sapping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but do you find that, like the article in the Herald, that customers were looking for you more?
With the Herald, if they were over the age of 55... I got maybe 4 of them.
Yeah.
We had a better response from both the Experience Everett website and then now the liveineverett.com. We've had way more traffic from those two people because it's a younger demographic, people that are savvy with the internet, and they can, we're more easy to be reached by people that are technologically savvy. Let's just put it that way. I cater towards more of a younger demographic than a lot of breweries,
Yeah, I'm thinking white and nerdy is not necessarily a grandma white hair nerd.
No,
Awesome.
Not at all.
Well, awesome. Well, Nate, best of luck finding a spot, and
Thank you.
we'll look forward to stopping in when you get that place open then.
We still have the brewery open on Saturdays starting next weekend. So after the Brew Fest, Saturdays 1 to 4 throughout the summer, I'll be at the brewery.
All right.
That's the only time we're open. So don't try and stop by any time outside of that, because someone probably won't be there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, thanks to Nate from Justice Brewing for joining us today.
If you're a home brewer looking for a great shop to buy your homebrew ingredients and equipment, why don't you check out Micro Homebrew in Kenmore? Tony and his staff are always happy to help a new or experienced home brewer find what they need. At Micro Homebrew, they're proud to carry over 100 hop varieties. Visit them today at 17511 68th Avenue Northeast in Kenmore, or find them on Facebook at Micro Homebrew. When you stop in, make sure you tell them that you heard about them on Northwest Brew Talk.
And we will be right back after a local music break from Children of Atom.
Shut the fuck up and pucker up, baby. Tonight we're gonna mixing potions, babe. It's bound to be your bitter end. Misery loves company. Well, baby, you got a friend in me. You can lead the horse to water, but you can never watch them clean. Oh, we're just playing.
That was Malfunction by Children of Adam. You can check them out at reverbnation.com/Children of Adam 1138. Or one step better, you can see them live October 16th with Anthrax in Spokane.
Sounds awesome.
If you want to have your music played on Northwest Brew Talk, contact us today.
Hi, I'm Mike Rizzo, author of Washington Beer, A Heady History of Evergreen State Brewing. The history of brewing in Washington dates back to when the area was just a territory. My new book, Washington Beer, tries to cover everything from the 19th century to modern days. American Craft Beer said, quote, author Michael F. Rizzo does the considerable legwork for us in Washington Beer, unquote. Through dozens of photos and detailed notes, the history slowly evolves. WA List said, quote, Michael Rizzo takes the name a Washington Beer game to a whole other level, unquote. From Prohibition to the modern craft beer movement, over 300 brewery histories are explored. One of craft beer's pioneers, Mari Kemper from Chuckin' Up Brewery, said, quote, he's done a noble job of trying to reconstruct the industry's history from oral stories and bits and pieces of written documentation. A great read for anyone interested in finding out how the beer industry developed in Washington State, unquote. From Arcadia Publishing, the book features a 16-page color insert and costs $21.99. You can pick up a copy at your local bookstore, online, in ebook format, or directly from me, autographed. Get your copy today.
And our second beer this evening, we get to thank Harmon Brewing for gifting us this beer. Thank you very much. They have 4 locations in Tacoma and Gig Harbor. All locations have all ages areas, and they're all open 7 days a week. We are drinking their NAUHAUS ESB that was made in celebration of the Northwest Art Now at Tacoma Art Museum. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of description of the beer that I could find, but
it was small batch brewed. That's what
yes,
the bottle says.
Yep. It's 5.8% ABV, 45 IBUs, and an untapped rating of 3.84, which is one of the higher ones we've had.
Yeah, definitely. This is a darker reddish hue to it. Yeah. And it's got a little head on it here. Not sure what the smell is. The aroma is some kind of something good.
Some kind of something good.
Oh yeah, you'll probably like this.
Oh wow,
mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. We haven't drank a lot of ESBs.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
You don't find them very often around, so yeah, that's pretty malty.
Yes, it must be something in the malt or something in there that we're getting the aroma of.
Yeah, I know. I can't.
No,
it's got like a chocolatey flavor in the end too.
Oh yeah, there you go. Just sitting there, and all of a sudden, I've got chocolate in my mouth. Yeah, this is not a porter. It's not a stout, but it's got some of the. It's not as dark either.
No, it's
but
lighter.
It does have some of the characteristics, some of the flavor of it.
I like it.
Yeah, I figured you would. Wow, that chocolate's just like sitting in my mouth here.
Yeah.
Makes me want some chocolate.
Why do you need chocolate when you've got this perfectly good beer right here?
To drink with the beer.
To eat with the beer.
Oh, yeah, I would eat it too. But yes, that's
just
exactly
guzzle down a big thing of syrup there.
All right. One new announcement is a while back, a few months or a month or so ago, we talked about an app we were working on. And we've got the first beta done. It looks pretty good. It's called Who Owns Your Beer? And it's called Who Owns Your Beer? And basically what it is it the app gives you, it's Washington focused, and it gives you the opportunity to search for a brewery and find out, first of all, if you want to go to a brewery, if they're family friendly, if they let pets in, and what kind of food they have or no food, and if there's outdoor seating also. And the other thing is, if you're like at the supermarket or something and you're looking for a 6-pack and you're not sure if one of the beers you're looking at is owned by a big mono, what do you call it? Mega brewery. Then you could pop that name in and you can see that. So it's kind of cool. We're not finished. The database still has some updating to do, but we're going to post a link to that on Twitter and Facebook. So if anybody wants to check it out and get back to us and let us know what you think.
I want you to get me fresh beer.
You serious?
Now!
So every week we do a segment called Fresh Beer, where we find somebody who's just released one of their beers, and we try and spotlight it for everybody so they can see where the freshest beer is in the area. We don't try it because we are not necessarily close to it that we can get to it, but we want everybody else to know, all of our listeners to know where their freshest beer is so that they can get out there and try that beer, because we all know the freshest beer is the best.
Exactly.
This week we are spotlighting Ghost Runners Brewery, located in Vancouver. They are presenting their Mosaic hopped IPA called Pre-Hoptane. Brewer Jeff Siebel designed the Pre-Hoptane IPA recipe to showcase the magic of Mosaic hops. Quote, I started with a light drinkable grain bill and added lots of Centennial and late edition Mosaic hops. Additional dry hopping presents Pre-Hoptane as a medium to light-bodied IPA with a distinct swagger of Mosaic hop aromas and flavor characteristics, unquote. Its ABV is 8.7. It has 58 IBUs and an untapped rating of 4.06.
That is an unusual number. We don't get a lot of over 4s on Untapped.
No, we don't. But it's new, so a lot of times the newer ones,
after it gets
after
more.
a lot of people try it, it drags it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a fresh beer, and if you're in the Vancouver area, definitely check it out.
Awesome, and that, my friends, brings us to the end of this episode of Northwest Brew Talk.
Make sure you tune in next week when we chat with Dreadnought Brewing.
Thanks to our sponsor, Micro Homebrew. This show is written and produced by Michelle Rizzo and myself.
If you want to contact us, you can email us at nwbrewtalk@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at nwbrewtalk. Our theme music is from Gilbert Neal. You can check him out at gilbertneal.com.
Until next time, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
Stay hoppy, my friends.